Hey there guys, Carey Hodsden, PGA here at XGOLF Chesapeake in the lovely Chesapeake, Virginia. I've got some more tidbits of golf swing wisdom hopefully to share with you today. I want to talk about chipping and how your hands play such a big role in chipping. And I want to talk about the sort of grip pressure and why you're going to feel different things with different grips when you chip. I also want to talk about how the face opens and closes with the chip, just like your swing, okay? And a lot of people, some people may disagree with that, but if you're using swing technique based on how the club is designed, once again, heel shafted, toe heavy, okay? All clubs are this way. If you're using the technique that works best with a heel shafted club, then you're going to want to allow that face to open and close a little bit. Okay, so first of all, what is a chip and what is a pitch? A pitch would be a shorter version of your golf swing, right? With a normal grip, a normal full swing grip. I use an overlapping grip, okay, like this with my pinky overlapping my index finger. My grip looks like something like this, and this is what I would use for a pitch. And for me, a pitch would be anything that I'm trying to carry the ball more than halfway there, okay? Or halfway to the hole and then allow it to roll, or more than halfway to the hole. So when I say that, let's talk about being near a green, and let's say we're 5 steps off the green. So 5 steps would be approximately 15 feet off the green. So if we're 5 steps off the green, and once I get on the green, I've got 20 steps to the hole, and I just want to get it on the green and let it roll to the hole, then that's a chip, okay? I'm hitting a low lofted shot to get it on the green, to roll it as far as, to roll it out to the hole and keep it on the ground, which is controlling where the ball is going to go a little bit better than it would be with hitting it up in the air and carrying it that far. So if we wanted to hit it up in the air and carry it halfway to the hole, we would call that a pitch, okay? And then we would use our normal, for me, overlapping grip, our normal full swing grip to hit a pitch shot, okay? And what I'll do is just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I'm gonna hit a pitch shot, and then we're gonna get into chipping. And then I'll do another lesson here very soon on pitching. I've already done a couple of them, but I've got a lot more to share with you regarding those types of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit a short pitch shot. I'm going to grip down on the club a little bit, and I'm going to use my normal golf swing here, and take it to about here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a shorter version of my full swing with a narrower stance to allow my hips to turn a little bit easier. To get myself squared up to the target, and the club squared up to the target when I swing through. Okay, so little pitch shot, let's just call it, 30 yards in the air, something like that. It's going to kind of look like this. Okay, and so all I'm doing is doing a shorter version of my swing for the pitch shot. Now, a chip shot, which is what we're going to mostly be talking about today, would be something where I might change my grip. Some people still use an overlapping grip for their chipping, and they also, a lot of other people use a reverse overlapping grip. I'll get into that when I get into putting a little bit later, but a reverse overlapping grip, instead of my pinky overlapping my left hand, so I'm right-handed, right? So just reverse this if you're left-handed. Instead of my right pinky overlapping my left index finger, I'm reversing those two, putting my right pinky on the golf club and putting my left index finger over top of my pinky and really my ring finger on my right hand, okay? That allows me to get into a little bit more right hand control. So let's talk about that for just a second. When we talk about changing our grip, when we have a grip where my right hand is, my right pinky is overlapping my left hand index finger, okay? That means that I now have 4 fingers on my right hand, mostly on the golf club, and not really much of my palm because my palm is kind of sitting on my left hand, and my right pinky is not on the golf club at all, okay? Which means I've got 5 fingers on my left hand and my palm on the club, okay? So you have to think about this just logically, and I think that what we're going to call ourselves, just this is neither here nor there, but I think we're going to call ourselves common sense golf, because really that's what we're talking about here. Everything that I do is based and rooted in bottom line common sense stuff based on how the golf club is designed and the rotational nature of the golf swing. I think the closest person, like I've said in the past, to get to sort of this common sensibility was Ben Hogan. And then there's a few other teachers that are doing it right now. Some of my favorites on YouTube, and then some other guys, a few other guys out in the world that not are using YouTube as much, that also kind of think this way. So now that we're talking about common sense, let's talk about the number of fingers we have on the golf club. If I've got 5 fingers in a palm on a golf club, and on this hand, and I only have 4 fingers on this hand and no palm, then which one's going to have more control? Right? The one with 5 fingers and the palm. That's the one that's going to have the most control. So when you're swinging your full swing, your left hand will most likely control the backswing and the downswing, where it's going to go. The right hand will help apply the hit, but the left hand is really controlling the direction of the golf swing. And in many cases, I mean, it leads with power, it leads with the left side, and then the right side pushes everything through, okay? But our right hand, what we're trying to do is we're trying to restrict the influence of our right hand through impact. We want it to be able to apply the hit, but we don't want it to take over and control the golf club, okay? This is very, very important. Now, having said that, when you use a reverse overlapping grip, okay, this is an overlapping grip. Now we're going to go to a reverse overlapping grip. Now I've got 5 fingers on the golf club on my right hand. I have 4 fingers and my palm on my left hand. Now, because my palm of my left hand is on the golf club, that kind of almost acts as a finger, okay? So instead of a palm and 5 fingers, now I've got a palm and 4 fingers of my left hand on a reverse overlapping grip, and I have all of my fingers and pretty much none of my palm of my right hand. What this does is it balances out the grip pressure, okay, and the grip influence on your pitching and chipping. Not on your pitching so much, but mostly on your chipping and your putting, rather. Forget what I just said. It's on your chipping and your putting. It balances it out. Now, when you're talking about chipping and putting, you're talking about touch shots, feel shots, things where you're trying to control distance. To do that, we wanted to use both of our hands equally to feel that feeling going through, okay? We don't want one dominating or controlling or guiding the golf swing. We want them both kind of going through equally because we want to feel that shot, okay? That's, most people did, on so many teachers, I hear none of them talk about this, but this reverse overlapping really changes which hand controls the shot, okay? So I like using the reverse overlapping for chip shots, okay, and for putting for certain, all right? Now some people will use a regular overlapping grip, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, to hit their chip shots, okay? And they'll go through, and then they when you're using a regular overlapping grip, your left hand is going to basically control the shot, okay? If you try to add your right hand to control the shot, when all of these fingers of your left hand are on the grip, you're going to create chunks, blades, just all kinds of just really messy shots, okay? With chip shots, you don't really want to do that, okay? So you can do it. You can do this if you want to, and it can work. Especially if you've got good hands and you understand that you don't want the left hand controlling everything. You got to feel like your right hand is a little bit more in control by squeezing your left thumb right here, okay? You're going to squeeze your left thumb to make sure that right hand's a little bit more control, and then you're going to hit your chip shot, okay? And that's not a bad technique, but I will tell you that it's much easier to use a reverse overlapping grip for this chip shot. So we're going to use a reverse overlapping grip for this chip shot, and what's going to happen is now both of my hands feel like they're working together to hit this chip shot, okay? So we set it up and we turn and we hit, and it really comes off a lot easier. There's less flipping going on, it's more together. You gotta remember, the chip shot is also a shorter version, okay? It's a shorter version of your swing. It's not gonna be exactly the same, but you need to move your hips, you need to allow your arms to swing, you need to allow these things to happen, you need to allow the club to swing. You also need to allow the club to open and close. I challenge you today, if you can find the time, if you don't believe what I'm saying, go pull up some old Ben Hogan videos on YouTube, on his short game, and watch his pitching and watch his chipping, okay? You will see this man opens the face on his pitches and his chips, and he hits through and he closes the face, and his body rotates. Even his legs start the downswing, okay? His left knee and right knee move together, starting the downswing, and then everything else follows, just like it does in the full swing. So we're going to call the chipping swing the smallest version of your full swing. The pitching swing will be the next smallest version of your full swing, okay? And then we move up the set with little choked up shots and all the way up to full shots with the full version of your full swing, right? All right, so let's talk quickly about the setup and how we're going to hit chip shots onto the green. We want the chip shot to go a short distance in the air, and we want it to roll out, okay? At the moment, I have a 58-degree wedge here, and not often used as much for chip shots, but if you've got really, really fast greens, like the fellas just played at the Travelers and the PGA Tour, or at Oakmont and US Open, crazy fast, right? Then oftentimes you're going to chip with sand wedges, okay? And pitching wedges and approach wedges. You know, things that are gonna, pop the ball up a little bit, get it on the green and get it rolling, okay? Because we want it, if you can get it on the green rolling like a putt, that's your best chance at controlling distance and direction, okay? So, once again, let's get set up. We're gonna set up with a narrow stance. We're gonna put the majority of our weight on our left foot, okay? People say, wow, the ball goes way back in your stance. Look, if your feet are like this, I mean, you can look at this right now. If your feet are like this, is this ball, and my weight's over to my left, is this ball in the back of my stance, or is it in the front of my stance, or is it in the middle of my stance? Can you even tell? Okay? If I'm like this, my weight's over on my left, I'm gonna hit the ball. It's hard to even tell. Honestly, I still try to feel like everything's off my left heel, all right? And then I bring my stance in narrower so that my hips will move a little bit better, okay? And then when I go to hit the shot and I take it back, my legs move, and then my arms and my hands follow, okay? Just like a normal golf swing, all right? So I set up off my left heel, I get my weight over, which moves my center of gravity over to the left, okay? And it moves the bottom of my swing over to the left, okay? Which is gonna create sort of the effect of the ball being back in my stance if my head position was in the center, right? So instead of being, kind of putting the ball in the back of my stance and keeping my head in the center like this, I'm going to move the ball to my left heel, but keep my stance very narrow, and then I'm gonna move my weight, watch this, weight over to my left foot, my head moves over to the left side, okay? I still turn my head back like I would on a full swing, to where the attitude of my chin is over my right toe, okay? Because it needs to stay there. You do not want to be pulling your head out on chips and pitches and stuff like that. You do that, you're gonna hit blades and chunks and all kinds of really nasty shots, okay? And you're not gonna be very much fun. So, once again, reverse overlapping grip, okay? Weight is over to the left, ball's off my left heel, you can see that right here, okay? And then my grip pressure is even all the way through on both hands, okay? Since all of my fingers are on my right hand are on the golf club, it's going to feel like you have more control in your right hand, okay? But remember, when we chip this thing, we're hitting with our back of our left hand and the palm of our right hand as we turn to the left. You must allow yourself to turn. You must allow your hips to move. This is imperative, okay? If you stop your hips and your hands go through, you will chunk it almost every time. okay? If you flip it, trying to lift it up in the air, then you will blade it across the green, okay? We don't want any of that. We want the club to sit straight down on the ground, and if you've seen some of my earlier lessons, we're pointing the club straight down to the ground, okay, like this. So the club is sitting straight down on the ground, our weight is over on the left. We're literally, with our hands and arms, in this good structured position here. We're moving this way to our right, allowing the club to open, okay? And then we're allowing our body to rotate, legs first, knees first, see this? Knees first, and then we allow the club to lag. We never throw the club at the ball, ever, okay? We allow the club to lag and we turn our body to the left. Now, here's a really, really important tip, okay? Something that's going to change the dynamics of your golf swing all the way through, and something that you should consider a fundamental of the golf swing. I don't care whether it's a putter, you're hitting a chip shot, you're hitting a pitch shot, or a full swing. We have to remember where the slot is. I hear everybody talking about this slot and all those slots and everything slot. The real slot to me is around our waist, okay? It goes all the way around our waist. You guys seen these cat toys? It's got a ball, it's got a scratch thing in the middle, it's round, and it's got a ball and a track that goes around it. You gotta imagine that something like that's going around your waist, okay? And this is where the slot goes. It goes all the way around your waist. You keep your hands the same distance around your waist, no matter what, okay? Once they get to waist high, they can leave and come back a little bit, okay? But if you're swinging more around, they're not gonna leave but so much. Now, if you're swinging a more modern swing, you're gonna go up and then you gotta reconnect somewhere down here to get them back into the slot so that it can move around your waist at the same distance as it did when it started. So if I start here, then this thing needs to stay this close to my waist all the way around, okay? That's the slot. That's what you wanna, that's how you wanna move your hands. I should probably invent something where you know, it's the perfect distance all the way around and your hands just go right through this track the whole time. But, you know, if you guys can think of something like that, let me know and we'll invent it together. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to get here, get your reverse overlapping grip, okay? The club is pointed straight down to the ground, sitting flat on the ground, okay? We're not hooded or anything like that. We're just normal. Since we're leaning forward a little bit, our hands are slightly ahead of the golf ball, okay, for this chip, all right? Then I'm gonna move my shoulder, my left shoulder, I'm gonna push the club back. The club is going to go back and inside just a little bit and open just a little bit. I'm not rotating my forearms like I would in a full swing or even a pitch shot. I'm just turning my shoulders. The club is opening on its natural path, okay? And as long as I keep my hands in this slot, okay? Then as I get back here, I'm going to allow my hips and knees to move to the left, okay, and clear out to the left so that I can, with the back of my left hand and the palm of my right hand, drive the club through the ball and then move off to the left and try to keep the distance of the club the same to my body, okay? If I go out like this, I could shank it, okay? This is really important because so many of you guys, you'll shank short pitch shots or chips. And the reason is because when you go through here, you go out, okay? And so if you go out, if the ball is right here, and you go back and you go out, you're like almost willing yourself to shank the ball, okay? So it doesn't go that way. It goes back here, and then your knees move, and you rotate around and hit with the back of your left hand and your palm of your right hand, okay? This is chipping, okay? And this is chipping at its finest. Now look, you're going to feel this in your wrists and your hands, okay? Your wrists need to stay somewhat immobilized, not completely. They need to have a little bit of play in them, okay? But you need to feel the club face. You need to feel where it is, okay? And the only way to do that is to practice. Get into this good setup, okay? Shift your weight over to the left. Allow yourself to go back and through and rotate to your left, okay, on these chip shots, and feel it in your hands. Feel how the club lags, okay? Feel how your hands are controlling what's happening with this with this club, okay? We're not doing any of this. There's nothing like this. It's just all together, okay? And the club will come right up, the ball will come right off just perfectly. The club will slide right along the ground. Don't deal off the club, okay? Don't get your hands way ahead, otherwise you're gonna chunk it, okay? The club is built with bounce on it for a reason. It's built so that you don't chunk it, okay? So we don't wanna be coming down with, you know, the face way forward like this, and the bounce on the back of the club doesn't work because you're digging the bloody leading edge into it, okay? We don't want that. So let me move on really quickly. I'm gonna go up a couple of clubs here to a 9-iron, and we're gonna do the exact same thing, okay? Just be a little bit farther away. I like to choke up all of these clubs when I'm doing this pitching. I like to get a little bit closer to the ball, okay? And I wanna feel the head, and I don't want the club swinging too much with this chipping. I want to kind of control that part of it a little bit. So I set up, I choke down to where, see how I've got golf pride right here? Okay, so, and I've got this little V right here. I choke down to there, okay, for a lot of these chips. Then I put it off my left heel, I lean forward, I get my reverse overlapping grip, I get the club pointed straight down, okay? And then I turn my shoulders just a little bit to get the club back, and then I move my knees and my body to the left, and I allow the club to lag, and I allow my left hand, the back of my left hand, and the palm of my right hand to make contact with the golf ball together, okay? Then I allow the club to move off to the left, and the club will close. Hugely important. The club will close. Don't try to hang on to it and keep it open. Another good way to shank it, if that's what you're looking for, okay? Don't do that. Allow the club to close. You will feel, once you learn how to do that with the back of your left hand and feel that club closing on your chips and even your pitches, it's gonna free you up. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done that before. Why am I trying to hang on to this thing and keep it down the line like that? Allow it to close. Allow the thing to go where it wants to go. The club is designed to do that. Heel shaft, it opens, the toe closes it. Allow it to happen. That's what common sense golf is, okay? We allow things to happen the way they're designed. We want the club to be used to its maximum efficiency by using it the way it's designed. Okay, so when I've got a 9-iron, when I'm chipping, I'm thinking I'm gonna run it a much longer way. If I've got super fast greens, I might chip it on there about 3 yards maybe, where it flies maybe 3 yards, and it's gonna roll out 15, 20 yards, okay, on fast greens. On slower greens, I might chip it 3 yards. I don't ever really try to chip it any harder. I try to use my clubs to control distance. So if I've got let's say I've got a 45 foot chip, or something along those lines, 15-yard chip, okay, and I'm 3 yards off the green, I might try to hit it 3 yards, just get it on the edge of the green and let it roll the rest of the way, okay, let it roll the other 12 yards. Now if I've got let's say a 60 foot chip, right? Then I might want to take a 7-iron, fly it 3 yards the same way, okay? Same type of swing, same hardness. I just went up a club to make sure that the club will roll out farther, okay? So that's how that's gonna feel. So let's get to the 9-iron and just kind of show you how that's gonna feel. All right, so we get our good stance, our reverse overlapping grip. Our chin and attitude is towards our right toe. Our weight is over on the left. We're moving our shoulder back here, okay? And then we're rotating our legs and our shoulders to the left and allowing the club to close, but we're not pushing our hands out and away from the body, okay? And you wanna feel the weight of the club in your hands, in your fingers, kind of. You wanna feel that club hanging down. You wanna feel that weight, and that's the weight you're gonna use to hit it, okay? So it'll be something like this. Okay, and you'll hear a very, very crisp, nice sound, all right? And the ball will jump right off, and it'll roll and roll and roll and roll, and it'll be perfect, okay? You can use it like a putt. So basically that's kind of chipping 101 on how I do it, and how I think a lot of common sense guys do it, that play tour golf. So I know there might be some questions regarding chipping. I'll do a pitching lesson that'll be similar along the same lines, but it'll be a little bit different feel going through very soon. And please leave me some comments down in the bottom and let me know if you have an interest in this. Thanks to the gentleman on GolfWorks Hogan Forum, Hogan's Heroes Forum, where I do a lot of postings, for asking me to do this chipping lesson. I'm really doing it for him, but I want the whole world to see it, okay? So thanks again, Carey Hodsden PGA. Thanks for watching. Until next time, hit them long and straight, and I'll see you soon.